Sonny's here. Council persons, please take your seats. Thank you, Mr. Joanne. When are you leaving? So you got to be.
No, we were doing.
He's coming? All right. I'd like to call to order the Cuyahoga County Council regular meeting of Tuesday, March 13th, 2012. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
The roll, Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Rogers. Here. Ms. Simon. Here. Mr. Greenspan. Here. Mr. Miller. Present. The record reflect that Mr. Brady is absent this evening. Mr. Germana. Here. Mr. Gallagher. Here. Mr. Schron. Here. Let the record reflect that Ms. Conwell is absent this evening, and Ms. Conley.
Here.
There is a quorum.
Is there a motion to excuse Mr. Brady?
So moved. Second.
Moved by Mr. Schron and seconded by Mr. Gallagher. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Mr. Brady's absence is marked excused. Is there a motion to make Ms. Conwell's absence excused?
Move. Second.
Moved by Mr. Miller and seconded by Mr. Rogers. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Ms. Conwell's absence is marked as excused. Will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For our moment of silence this evening, I'd like to ask everyone to consider their own personal reflections and continue to pray for the families of the victims of the Chardon High School incident and for the community. Madam Clerk, has anyone signed in for public comment related to the agenda?
Madam Chair, no one has signed in to speak.
Item 6, the approval of the minutes of February 28, 2012. The minutes from that meeting are in your packet. Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Miller.
I would like to move a slight amendment to the minutes in the place where it has the vote that was taken to go into executive session, where it says it was approved by unanimous vote. I would move to amend that to read it was approved by unanimous roll call vote, to reflect the fact that we did hold a roll call which is in compliance with the state requirement.
All right, is there a second to that?
Second.
All right, is there any discussion on Mr. Miller's amendment? All right, all those in favor of the amendment indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. The minutes are reflected to indicate that there was a roll call vote. Thank you, Mr. Miller. All right, any other discussions on the amended minutes? All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. The minutes are approved. Item 7, message from our county executive, Mr. Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll be very brief. One point is that in the budget that we passed, we had set it as a goal that we would have personnel reductions of 100 net employees by the end of by the end of the budgetary period, or actually by the end of 2012. I'm just going to give you a quick update on that. We're at, there have been about 69 terminations of employment so far in 2012. There have been 29 hires, so there are 40 net fewer employees so far and that covers about the first 2.5 months of the year, by the way. That is a savings of between salary and benefits of approximately $2.1 million. So we're on track to reach our goal of at least 100 fewer employees by the end of the year, if not more than that, which I think is part of the reason why we've established credibility with the public. Speaking of that, and that leads me to my last point, that credibility I hope we've restored was on display, I think, with the results of the election for issue 15. I want to thank the council for their unanimous and energetic support of it. It really was a testament about how the residents of this county, I think, are feeling about the job we do with human services and in general. It passed by a record margin. It's never almost 70% of the vote, about 68.2% of the vote. It's higher than it's ever passed before. It also was unique in that it didn't fail in any communities out of all 59. There's usually a few that never vote for any kind of tax levy. It passed in all of them, and it tied in Hunting Valley. But other than that, it passed, and we're still waiting for the overseas ballots to see if it passes in Hunting Valley. But it was, I think it was a great testament to the fact that it was a good campaign. It reflected a real broad base of support across the community for a very good cause, and I think it's a version of a report card for ourselves in terms of how the public feels that we're stewarding public dollars. So I wanted to thank the council for your steadfast support for that issue. Thank you, Madam President.
All right, thank you. I'd like to also congratulate and thank the community for support of issue 15. For those watching in our work session this afternoon, we did have a presentation from the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, which was very informative. I would encourage all members of the public to go to our website tomorrow and watch that, because it was a very, very informative presentation. I'd like to thank the members of the sewer district who made that presentation. I also like to offer best wishes and happy birthday to our staff person, Joanne Gross, who's a little bit under the weather and not here with us this evening, and everybody unanimously, happy birthday, Joanne. Happy birthday, Joanne. Get better soon so you can be back with us. Item number 8, consideration of a motion of council for first reading adoption or suspension of the rules, Rule 9D and 12A. Ms. Simon?
Madam President, I move we suspend the rules.
Second.
All right, the moved and seconded for suspension of the rules. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. The rules are suspended. Item 0, M 2012-0008 is a motion for the appointment of Ann Mann to the Board of Revision. That matter is being withdrawn. There was a question about her eligibility, and we are withdrawing it, and we will consider it at some future date until we get a clarification. Madam Clerk, item 0009.
Motion number 2012-0009, a motion appointing an ad hoc committee on capital improvements and facilities and declaring the necessity that this motion become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Schron and seconded by Mr. Jones. I'd just like to point out that section 3.09, subsection 7 of the charter provides that council shall, quote, provide for the acquisition, construction, maintenance, administration, rental, and leasing of property, including buildings and other improvements. So that charges the council with making decisions, final decisions regarding the purchasing of any sale of property. So as the public is aware, the executive has done a very fine job in evaluating the properties. They've hired a consultant and have come up with some guidelines that they wish to follow. But council, it just wants to remain in the loop so that we can make an intelligent decision regarding sales and purchasing of real estate. So and that we can be fully advised of the process. So I'm asking for your support in the appointment of an ad hoc committee so that committee can continue to work with the administration and we would encourage other members of the council to participate in those meetings. Of course, they will be public meetings, and we'll be advised of all of their meetings, and will be open to the public, and we'd like to garner your support. So I appreciate your vote on this matter. Any discussion?
Move to adopt.
Second.
I think we've had.
It's been
we've
first
already been-
and seconded
already
by
moved and
Mr.
seconded.
Strawn
Any
and
discussion?
Mr. Jones.
Right. All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, the ayes have it, and at this time, I'd like to appoint the ad hoc committee, and that will be myself, Mr. Gallagher, and Mr. Brady, and we will let you know when we have our first meeting. All right, item 9, consideration of motions of council for first reading and referral to committee.
Motion number 2012-0010, a motion providing for the appointment of Valerie J. Harry to serve as Director of Internal Auditing and declaring the necessity that this motion become immediately effective.
This matter will be referred to the Human Resource Committee, and I'd just like to remind everyone that I sent you a memo several weeks ago discussing the role of the internal auditor. This is a council appointment, and only council can make this appointment, and only council can remove the internal auditor. So it's a checks and balance manner that's set up in the charter, and but the internal audit committee has to make the recommendation, and the internal audit committee actually monitors the activity of the internal auditor. So I'm a member of that, along with Mr. Fitzgerald and Mr. Steen, and then we have 2 members of the public. So we've been meeting and working. We actually have an acting internal auditor in Mr. Mark Parks, who's been doing some things until we were able to finally hire a person. So we're looking forward to the appointment and the approval of Ms. Harry, and she'll be appearing before the Human Resource Committee. All right.
Motion number 2012-0011, a motion confirming the county executive's appointment of the Honorable Gary A. Norton, Jr. to serve on the Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority Board of Trustees and declaring the necessity that this motion become immediately effective.
That'll be referred to Human Resources.
Motion number 2012-0012, a motion confirming the county executive's appointment of Megan O'Brien to serve on the Cuyahoga Community College Board of Trustees and declaring the necessity that this motion become immediately effective.
It also will go to Human Resources.
Motion number 2012-0013, a motion confirming the county executive's appointment of individuals to serve on the Tax Incentive Review Councils and declaring the necessity that this motion become immediately effective. The members the individuals to be appointed are Richard Sensenbrenner, Jonathan Holliday, Maggie Keenan, and Joe Machula.
And these appointments are actually mandated by the Ohio Revised Code 570985, but we will refer them to the Human Resource Committee for review. Item 10, consideration of a resolution of council for first reading and referral to committee, item 0041.
Resolution number 2012-0041, a resolution supporting and collaborating with Emerald Cities, Cleveland, Cuyahoga County to create a clean energy economy in Cuyahoga County by developing community workforce opportunities, enhancing environmentally sustainable practices, and assisting Cuyahoga County and its political subdivisions to meet the United States Department of Energy's Better Buildings Challenge to make municipal buildings and facilities 20% more energy efficient by 2020.
And this will be referred to the Environment and Sustainability Committee.
Madam President,
Yes.
I would like my name added as a co-sponsor, please.
Mr. Rogers, and please add my name also. And Ms. Simon. Okay. All right, item 11, consideration of an ordinance of council for first reading and referral to committee.
Ordinance number 2012-0007, an ordinance establishing and providing for the administration of a Cuyahoga County Educational Assistance Program for county residents for the purposes of increasing the number of skilled workers into the county's workforce, encouraging completion of college degrees among county residents, and enhancing economic development opportunities for the region, and declaring the necessity that this ordinance become immediately effective.
This matter is being referred to the Economics and Sustainability Committee because Mr. Rogers has been a leader in this matter, and we encourage all of you to attend these particular committee meetings because of the importance of this committee. We are hoping that this whole concept will actually grow into not just scholarships, but also generally education and youth development. So we're looking forward to, all of us are looking forward to working with Mr. Rogers on this. He has really done a lot of research, and we hope that this will be the beginning of a wonderful program for education for our county.
Madam Chair, if I may just, environment and sustainability, is
Yes.
that you're referring?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance number 2012-0008, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2011-0019, which established the Agency of Inspector General and the responsibilities and duties of said agency, and declaring the necessity that this ordinance become immediately effective.
This may be referred to the Rules Committee, and I believe it's going to be on for hearing on the 27th at 1 o'clock. Item 12, committee report and consideration of an ordinance of council for second reading.
Ordinance number 2012-0003, an ordinance establishing rules and procedures for operation of charter review commissions in Cuyahoga County pursuant to Article 12, Section 9 of the Cuyahoga County Charter.
Okay,
Madam President,
yes, Mr. Miller.
I would like to offer an amendment.
Okay.
Could the clerk please distribute the amendment? Right here.
Oh, sure.
Madam President, I would like to move this amendment, and it's hopefully minor and close to technical in nature. It has two parts. The first part of the amendment adds to the end of Rule 2G a suggestion that was made by Council Member Conwell that the vice chairperson be expected to attend all the meetings of the commission in order to be able to perform his or her duties to take over for the president if necessary. And following the language that Councilwoman Simon suggested, it reads, "The vice chairperson shall make best efforts to attend," noting that we're not going to provide any sanctions if they don't, but just to create the expectation. And the second thing that the amendment does is that it substitutes vice chairperson with no dash between vice and chairperson for vice chairperson with a dash between those two wherever it appears. The draft somehow it came out to be about 50-50 and half of each, and so we want to use the consistent vice chairperson with no dash. And the reason why I chose no dash is that in the charter where it says vice president, it uses no dash, so we're just making it consistent with the charter.
Madam President, I'll second the amendment.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Is any other discussion on the no dash amendment? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. So this will be on for third reading as amended. Is that correct, Mr. Miller? At our next meeting. And once again, these are the rules for the Charter Commission. So if the public is interested in reviewing those, they're posted on the website. We encourage them to take a look at that. And there will be public comment at our next meeting where they should be on for adoption, or also at the next Rules Commission, which will be on the same day. On
27th.
On the 27th at 1 o'clock. All right, item 13, consideration of a resolution for first reading adoption under suspension of the rules 12A and 9D. Ms. Simon?
Madam President, I move we suspend the rules.
Second.
Moved By Ms. Simon and seconded by Mr. Gallagher to suspend the rules. Any discussion? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. We can move forward under suspension of the rules on item 0042.
Resolution number 2012-0042, a resolution amending the 2012-2013 biennial operating budget for 2012 by providing for additional fiscal appropriations from the general fund and other funding sources, for appropriation transfers between budget accounts, and for cash transfers between budgetary funds in order to meet the budgetary needs of various county departments, offices, and agencies, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Moved by Mr. Miller and seconded by Mr. Rogers. Is there any discussion on this? I had an opportunity to go over it, and Mr. Miller, you had an opportunity to go over it, and it doesn't seem like anything unusual.
Madam President, the changes are very minor, and I recommend approval.
Any other discussion on the changes? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Item 14, consideration of resolution for first reading and referral to committee.
Resolution number 2012-0043, a resolution authorizing a 2-year moratorium on requiring a local funding match for roadway projects, effective February 29, 2012, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
This matter is referred to Public Works.
Resolution number 2012-0044, a resolution authorizing the county executive to enter into an agreement with W.M. Arada in an amount exceeding the fair market value of $800 as settlement for property rights for parcel number 24CH, which is a channel easement, in connection with widening and reconstruction of Barrett Road from Spafford Road to the Berea West Corporation line, replacement of Barrett Road culvert numbers 8, 9, 10, and 11, and improvement of Barrett Road culvert number 12 in Olmsted Township, and authorizing the county executive to execute the agreement and all other documents consistent with this resolution.
This matter goes to Public Works.
Resolution number 2012-0045, a resolution authorizing a Brownfields revolving loan fund subgrant award in the amount not to exceed $600,000 to Cleveland Cuyahoga County Port Authority for environmental cleanup for the Dike 14 project located at 8701 Lakeshore Boulevard, Cleveland, for the period March 1, 2012 through June 30, 2013, authorizing the county executive and/or director of development to execute all documents consistent with said award and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
This matter will go to Economic Development.
Resolution number 2012-0046, a resolution authorizing an agreement with Alcohol, Drug Addiction, and Mental Health Services Board of Cuyahoga County in the amount not to exceed $669,566 for the Early Childhood Mental Health Services Program for the Invest in Children program for the period January 1, 2012 through December 31, 2012, authorizing the county executive to execute the agreement and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Let's go to Health and Human Services.
Resolution number 2012-0047, a resolution authorizing an amendment to contract number CE 11-00057 with Starting Point for administration of the Teacher Education and Compensation Helps Program and Early Care and Education Professional Development System for the Invest in Children program for the period January 1, 2011 through December 31, 2011, to extend the time period to December 31, 2012, to change the terms effective January 1, 2011, and for additional funds in the amount of $644,521, authorizing the county executive to execute the amendment and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
This matter will be referred to Health and Human Services.
Resolution number 2012-0048, a resolution authorizing agreements with various providers for child support services for the period January 1, 2012 through December 31, 2012, authorizing the county executive to execute the agreements and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective with the providers in the amounts as printed on the agenda, items F1 through 3.
So go to Health and Human Services.
Resolution number 2012-0049, a resolution authorizing an agreement with Cuyahoga County Treasurer's Office in the amount not to exceed $39,175.79 for child support services for the period January 1, 2012 through December 31, 2012, authorizing the county executive to execute the agreement and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
I'll go to Health and Human Services.
Madam Chair, if I may,
Yes.
for a sec, the resolution 2012-004, we'll get back to you on that for sure, but I've inquired about it because we had dealt with this in the settlement ordinance, that if it's for the acquisition of a road and if it's under $50,000, I think the executive has the authority, and if it's above $50,000, it goes to the Board of Control. We had resolved this issue, so I was perplexed when I saw this. I'm inquiring why.
0049?
0044. We may have to pull it from the agenda, but I'll confirm if there's another reason that I'm not aware of why it made it onto the agenda. 2012-0044. It's a settlement for $800 for a roadway.
Oh, okay. All right, that's fine, all right. Item 0050 has been withdrawn.
Yes, Madam Chair, this item has been withdrawn at the request of the administration.
Item 15, committee report and consideration of resolutions for second reading.
Resolution number 2012-0036, a resolution authorizing an economic development large-scale attraction loan in the amount not to exceed $3 million to Phillips Medical Systems Cleveland Incorporated for renovation of property located at 595 Minor Road, Highland Heights, authorizing the county executive and/or director of development to execute all documents consistent with said loan and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
This will be on for our hearing in the next meeting, but Mr. Strawn would like to be heard.
Thank you, Madam President. Because I won't be here at the next meeting, and I think some of our folks from Economic Development from the executive's side, nor the executive, I don't believe, will necessarily be here at the next meeting. And I believe this will come up for a vote at the next meeting. I think it's very important to point out that these two actions as far as resolutions 0036 and 0037 represent the first time that the county's $100 million economic development fund will be utilized for the benefit of job creation in the county. The first one, 0036, represents 100 new jobs that will be coming to the county as a direct result of activities by Phillips Corporation, bringing their R&D labs to Cuyahoga County from Silicon Valley. So when you talk about man bites dog story, when Silicon Valley loses jobs to Northeastern Ohio, it tells you we've really gone through the full turnaround and creation of where this community is going. So it makes an extremely positive statement. My hat's off to the county executive for having the vision of the creation of the $100 million fund. The second one, I'll speak to that at the same time, 0037, also represents the movement of jobs directly to Northeastern Ohio. The total final number should be close to 1,000 jobs that will be moved to downtown Cleveland, of which approximately 700, between 700 and 800, will be new jobs to the county. Also, it's very exciting to see this. When you total these two projects together, as far as what is being spent at the Phillips project and the AmTrust project together, it comes out to almost $100 million in just these two projects alone. So when you see the investment from the county at $6 million going into this on these loans versus the $100 million of economic impact, of direct economic impact as a result of the investments from both of these organizations, the job multiplier is phenomenal. So I just wanted that to be said. I would not, unfortunately, I wish I was here to vote on this at the next meeting, but I will not be here. But I wanted to at least make that statement. Thank you.
And I'd just like to point that we had a very lively and interesting debate on these issues in the committee meeting, and so if the public is interested in hearing more details about how these loans are set up and some of the things about them, it's available on the website at our last Economic Development Committee.
And because thank you, Madam President, because the folks at Phillips, as like any organization or any presentation of whoever gets the first one at the gate, they got grilled probably a lot longer, a lot harder in regards to it. But the best comment of the whole day was the gentleman from Phillips saying that he appreciated the way the public discourse was because we were actually representing, he thought, a very positive way in which we were protecting the taxpayers' money by the way those questions were being asked. So my hat's off to all my colleagues who participated in that, and hopefully my hat's off to all of you when you vote in 2 weeks to support both of these. Thank you.
All right, and then you want to read item 0037?
Resolution number 2012-0037, a resolution authorizing an economic development large-scale attraction loan in the amount not to exceed $3 million to 800 Superior for renovation of property located at 800 Superior Avenue, Cleveland, authorizing the county executive and/or director of development to execute all documents consistent with said loan and this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
All right, these will both be on for a vote on March 27th. Item 16, committee report and consideration of resolution for second reading and adoption under suspension of the rules. We're asking for a suspension of the rule 9D. These matters have been to committee, but we'd like to waive the third reading because it's important that these matters proceed. So Ms. Simon, you'd like to make a motion?
Madam President, I move we suspend the rules.
Second.
I've been moved and seconded to suspend Rule 90. All those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Item 0035.
Resolution number 2012-0035, a resolution amending the 2012-2013 biennial operating budget for 2012 by providing for additional fiscal appropriations from the general fund and other funding sources, for appropriation transfers between budget accounts, and for cash transfers between budgetary funds in order to meet the budgetary needs of various county departments, offices, and agencies, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Second.
A move by Mr. Miller and seconded by Mr. Greenspan. This was a matter that was on the agenda, and Mr. Miller raised some questions, and it was referred to the Finance Committee. Did you want to be heard on that? Or?
Madam President, thank you very much. This item was extensively heard in committee. This legislation provides $20 million in appropriation authority from the county's general fund reserves to get the $100 million fund started. We do not expect nearly that amount to actually be expended when we have expended a significant amount. We expect that some kind of bond or note financing will be done, and the money in the general fund will be restored, but we need this legislation to get the Phillips project and the other projects underway, so I ask for my colleagues' support for this legislation.
All right, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Item 0038.
Resolution number 2012-0038, a resolution authorizing an agreement with Alcohol, Drug Addiction, and Mental Health Services Board of Cuyahoga County in the amount not to exceed $1,780,395 for the Adult Probation Substance Abuse Residential Treatment Program for the period January 1, 2012 through December 31, 2014, authorizing the county executive to execute the agreement and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Simon and seconded by Mr. Miller. Any discussion on this? Was heard in Justice Affairs Committee.
President, this just is a routine contract to enable the court, Common Pleas Court, to provide treatment for criminal defendants who go through the system. And point of note that this is really inadequate. It serves only a small percentage of the criminal defendants that go through the system who really are in need of treatment. So it's inadequate, but it's I think the best we're going to do at this point.
All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, and please mark me as recusing myself on this matter. I'm on the Board of Community Action Against Addiction and also on the advisory board at Oriana House, which I believe gets the money from these programs, so I'll be marked as a recusal. All right, item 0039. Oh, the ayes have it, it is adopted now.
Did you call the vote? Was the vote technically called?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Resolution number 2012-0039, a resolution authorizing contracts with various providers for various services in connection with the fiscal year 2011 Second Chance Act Adult Offender Reentry Program for the period October 1, 2011 through September 30, 2012, authorizing the county executive to execute the contracts and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective for the services and providers and in the amounts as printed on the agenda, items C1 and 2.
Move to adopt. Second.
Moved by Mr. Schron and seconded by Mr. Jones. Any discussion on these matters? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Item 0040.
Resolution number 2012-0040, a resolution authorizing a contract with Starting Point in the amount not to exceed $1,832,782 for administration of the Special Needs Child Care Program for the period January 1, 2012 through December 31, 2012, authorizing the county executive to execute the contract and all other documents consistent with this resolution, and declaring the necessity that this resolution become immediately effective.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Schron and seconded by Mr. Miller. Any discussion on this? All right, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. Item 17, consideration of an ordinance for first reading and referral to committee.
If I may interject at this point, we have a request from the law director to withdraw item, resolution number 2012-0044, and it is covered under the settlement ordinance, and he's requesting that that item be withdrawn from the, instead of referred to the Public Works Committee, that it be withdrawn entirely from the agenda.
Okay, now, all right, so you just withdraw. So we didn't take any action other than referral to committee. So I withdraw the referral to committee and it's withdrawn by the administration. All right, fine, thank you. So we're back on 17.
Okay. Ordinance number 2012-0009, an ordinance providing for adoption of various changes to the Cuyahoga County non-bargaining classification plan and declaring the necessity that this ordinance become immediately effective.
This now be referred to Human Resources. Item 18, committee report and consideration of an ordinance for second reading.
Ordinance number 2012-0006, an ordinance approving revised Cuyahoga County Procurement Card Program policies and procedures effective February 1st, 2012, and declaring the necessity that this ordinance become immediately effective.
Okay, this matter was heard in Public Works, and this is on for second reading, so it'll be up for a vote at our next meeting on March 27th. Item 19, do we have any miscellaneous committee reports? Any miscellaneous committee reports?
Madam President.
Mr. Miller?
Finance Committee will not meet at our next regularly scheduled time on March 19th because some of our colleagues will be not in town that day. We will meet on the following regular time on Monday, April 2nd, and at that time we will hear the reserves legislation and hope to decide on that legislation and move forward. Thank you.
Any other miscellaneous committee reports? Mr. Schrein?
Yes, the Economic Development Committee, its regularly scheduled meeting, will not meet at that date. We're looking for an alternative date. We'll work through through Nikki and through Nate to find a coordinated date so we can get that heard while we're gone.
All right, any other miscellaneous business? Any public comment unrelated to the agenda?
No, Madam Chair, none.
Is there any other item that we have for the good of the order?
Madam President? Yes. I have one item I know we want to get out. I just have a question, and if the president would consider, Resolution 0048 involves CISA contracts and contracts with the 3 courts. One of which is the juvenile court, and there's some grading that went on with regard to their contractual actual responsiveness to the 4D funds. And I wanted to know if the president would consider moving that into Justice Affairs, because the committee's been working with the juvenile court reps, and I really want to delve into the scorecard of their compliance with 4D funding, if the president would consider that.
I doubt if Mr. Brady would have any objection to you taking his item off of his agenda, so we can refer that to Justice Affairs.
And I'll schedule a meeting then, either this Friday or the next, and I'll check with my colleagues on the committee.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam President.
All right, anything further? Mr. Greenspan?
I'm sorry, I just have a question to Mr. Rogers on the scholarship program. Have you scheduled a committee meeting yet for that?
I haven't. I was looking at next Friday, but I wanted to, in light that there may be a lot of interest from outside of the committee, I wanted to kind of gauge everyone's schedule to kind of see when would be the best time to actually hold these hearings.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, do you want to do your committee meeting like as a work session before the, because I mean, everybody is particularly interested in that. Consider the 27th, right now, we don't have a work session.
That would be great.
Is that agreeable to you? Okay, and we'll tentatively set that, we'll check with them, we'll tentatively set for that, but I think that might work out. And we certainly encourage everyone from the public to come in and you know, offer any suggestions, because this is a major part of the role of council, is to set up this scholarship fund.
Madam President, would that be an hour?
Yeah,
Work session?
4 o'clock, we can at least start with it. Or you want to do earlier?
I would like to do earlier,
3 o'clock?
3 o'clock.
Wait, now what time's your meeting, Mr. Greenspan?
1. We'll be done in plenty of time.
Okay, so we can do this at 3?
The 27th.
7? Okay. All right, anything else, Mr. McCoof?
No, but just Mr. Merriman points out that Resolution 49 is related and for the same matter as Resolution 48, so council moved 48 to the Justice Affairs Committee. You may want to consider moving 49 as well to the Justice Affairs Committee, because they're the same thing, just in 2 different resolutions.
All right, fine, you can move both of them to Justice Affairs. All right, if there's nothing else for the good of the order, this is a kind of a record 45-minute meeting. If there a motion to adjourn? All right, this stands adjourned. Thank you very much.
Maybe we're getting better.